Hi, just want to do a quick mini review of the Omega Seamaster Professional Bond Watch. This is the 41 millimeter version. It's also an automatic. It's got the 1120 movement in it, which is an ETA 2892 base movement. I just wanted to throw this review up real quick. Actually, it's kind of a defense of this watch. It's kind of an enigma for watch collectors because it's so common. Of course, this is the Pierce Brosnan Bond watch, and was very popular in the late 90s, 2000s. Was really one of Omega's top sellers and kind of ushered in the popularity of dive watches. Um, and so as a result, a lot of watch collectors kind of look at this watch with they're nonplussed by it. Maybe not disdain, but they're at least nonplussed by it. I can't tell you how often I've heard people say, "Oh, you got a Bond watch." Well, yeah, it is that, but it's also just, in my opinion, a future classic dive watch. And let me just run through why. First of all, you've got the great level of finishing on the case that's so well known for Omegas. You know, brushed and polished surfaces, kind of a lot of textures and angles, and just a really kind of an engaging watch to look at. You've got a great double dome sapphire crystal, which, as you can see, is just a nice, pretty crystal. And these early Bond watches, the reason why I want to say they're a feature classic is because of their actually their simplicity, relatively speaking. You've got just painted indices and non-applied markers on the dial. And the early painted indices, as you can see, this is kind of getting a somewhat yellowish color to it. Well, that's tritium, and tritium is basically a slightly radioactive luminous substance that was used in vintage watches, and it just takes on a lot of character and is really pretty. Kind of a creamy vintage look. And yet this watch is thoroughly modern. You can use it like any sports watch. Also, another thing is in the more recent itinerations of the SMP Bond watch, you lose the wave dial. It's they've gone to ceramic for everything, and that's really cool. It's high tech, but frankly, I think that it loses something that's sort of I don't know, trademark of this watch. And I have a feeling that, well, some people have, complained that this watch is just kind of loud or obnoxious with the waves, or that it's in bad taste or something. That people come back and have a kind of affection for it just because it is unique and frankly, it's kind of cool. As you can see in all kind of different lights, the waves come out in different ways, and in a darker light, you can hardly see it, and it's just kind of cool. Another thing is that this blue is just actually really gorgeous. Very simple observation to make, but it's just a nice blue, and that's something that is not only just kind of enjoyable to look at, but it's also versatile. I've got this thing on a NATO right now, and it's super comfortable, super thin, super lightweight to wear, and just kind of a fun, sporty, casual watch to wear. Of course, Omega's moved to in-house now with their movements, and that's really awesome. I mean, you're getting a sweet coaxial escapement and higher power reserves and a lot of features that you won't get in the 1120 movement. But the thing is with this movement is that it's just dead reliable based on the very well regarded 2892 movement. It's got an extra jewel added by Omega, and it's just nicely finished and beautiful. I'm not going to pull the case back off or anything, but if you look it up, the 1120 movement is just a sharp movement, and so at the end of the day, I mean, this watch maybe, yeah, it isn't a Submariner. It doesn't have the incredible level of fit and finish that the new Omegas have. It isn't a horological masterpiece as far as the complications or anything like that go, but it's just a good watch, and brings to the table a lot of kind of classic Omega elements. It's far from perfect. I agree. I think the helium release valve up here is just kind of overkill. I also think that the scallop bezel is, even though the I think the idea was to kind of create a wave pattern in the bezel that matches the dial. That's my conjecture. But it isn't super functional. There are definitely better designs and bezels in the new Planet Ocean's kind of toothy bezel is definitely more functional. Um, but uh, but the other thing is about this watch is that you can get it for relatively cheap now. I would say around $1,000, and that is not something you're going to find for long with these Omega Dive watches. They are trying to compete with Rolex. They are going to get more expensive, and so the days of a cheap, nice Omega Dive watch, relatively speaking, I mean $1,000 isn't cheap, of course. But anyway, those days are numbered, and in my opinion, the Bond watch will become more and more appreciated as time goes on because it is unique, has a lot of good things going for it, and well, it might not be the cutting edge anymore. And it might be playing second fiddle to the extremely excellent Planet Ocean. I love the Planet Ocean. Don't get me wrong, but it's still got a lot going on in its own right. There you go.